The Indians of the high plateaus in the Andes recount legends of an animal which for 8 centuries has been coveted. Its magnificent fine silky wool makes the vicuna one of the most expensive animals on Earth. In 20 years, 380 peasant communities have been formed in the country, which exploit 55% of Peru's 180,000 vicunas. The Cala camp is one of the best situated in the country. It's here that a strange ceremony takes place once a year. A few coca leaves for blood circulation at high altitudes, and some warm water, agua caliente, to bless the earth, the mountains, and of course the vicunas.
For us, the vicuna is the pride of our country. It's on our flag, like the emblem of our land. The vicuna is the pride of all Peruvians.
Vamos, vamos, vamos!
Imposed by the CITES as an imperative condition for dealing in vicuna wool, the chaku is the only legal method for capturing and shearing the animal. It's an extremely physical technique, which makes great demands, especially on the legs and the lungs. The chaku consists of simply climbing to the highest part of the mountain and leading the vicunas to the corrals down below, where they are shorn and then released as soon as possible, since vicunas can react violently to stress and are easily injured. The dimensions differ greatly, and there's sometimes inequality in the more than 380 peasant communities that exploit about half the vicunas now present in Peru. In 30 years, thanks to the CITES, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the CONAX, the vicuna population has increased by 2,000%. This success entails strict rules that the campesinos respect whatever the cost. Vicunas can only be shorn once every 2 years. CITES rings are placed on the animal's ear, indicating whether or not it can be shorn. Chakus are only authorized from late June to late October, a period which gives rise to highly unusual ceremonies. The vicuna honeymoon, for example, or the story of a male and female vicuna forced to marry by tradition. A little agua caliente can help, especially when you're reluctant. A few forced kisses. Drops of blood on the men's faces are used to assimilate the vicuna's agility and to celebrate the start of the mating season. At Cala, they prefer using ordinary scissors instead of shears, the same that we used in the past. Long, heavy steel scissors which don't damage the skin and enable the wool to be cut evenly so that it grows back correctly. It takes just a few minutes to cut, roll, and meticulously weigh these precious coats of wool. The softness and color symbolize hope for the entire community. A well-endowed vicuna yields 200 to 300 grams of wool before, of course, the women clean it. Once cleaned, the quantity of usable wool is only half that amount. This year at Kalakala, about 750 kilograms will be collected. It's time for the 450 vicunas captured today to return to freedom. The campesinos have completed their work and the guards can now take over.
Bueno, yo estoy armado para dar la seguridad a la vicuña y la protección.
We're armed here to protect and guard the vicunas and to control Kalakala.
Los cazadores sí ha habido.
There are poachers around, and we've suffered as a result. But before, there were only 180 vicunas. Now there are more, about 1,000.
It would be heresy to say that vicunas aren't threatened. Who can forget the massacres of the 1980s when the vicunas were fired at with machine guns? This is why in 1992, the government, with the help of wool-related funds, created a school for guards specializing in the protection of vicunas. 750 armed men keep a close eye out for poachers all night long at the risk of their lives.
The vicuna should exist as a separate entity, provided that there is only one sales outlet. Wool production is varied throughout the country. The country is too vast. Some communities will produce 5 kilos, others 10. Opening a free market without one unique sales point like the SNV is a problem, since it would be uncontrollable. Whereas it's easy to control one entity, it's impossible to control several thousands of people.
And there's no limit to the potential quarrels among communities, especially if it means separating part of one's herd to satisfy another's needs, as imposed by the CONEX. It seems that the campesinos keep taking more and more of the animals which, according to the Constitution, belong to the Peruvian people for their use only.
Tomar desciende hasta las 6 de la tarde. A mi casa yo me llego a 10 de la noche. Tomar desciende hasta las 6 de la tarde sin comer. Comerse la vida de un nuestro, no, disculpa. Por eso nosotros, nos cuesta nuestro.
Another conflictual subject are the fences. Set up on certain reserves to make the surveillance of poachers easier and to facilitate the chacus, these barriers limit territories to between 3,000 and 5,000 hectares, depending on the reserve. It would be easy to further limit these areas in order to increase production, thus endangering the vicuna's social organization and their birth rate. Overexploitation is the secret dream of all campesinos.
Mediante las oficinas como CONAG, nos controla detalladamente todo.
The CONAC control us down to the slightest detail. We would like the vicunas to be ours, because we live with these animals. It's the same with cows and all the others. Vicunas are the pride of the country, and this way it's impossible. We would prefer to work with private companies. That's what we'd like.
Centuries ago, in trying to domesticate the vicuna, the Andean people created the alpaca. It took just 1 century to transform the species, thus the importance of conserving the vicuna in the wild on the largest possible stretches of land, since birth rate problems have even been observed in reserve areas of more than 5,000 hectares.